So watch brands often take inspiration from locations like New York, Paris, and Italy, beautiful places to inspire their watches. Today we're going to take a look at a watch that is inspired by Transylvania, which is kind of weird when you really think about it. And this is a watch brand that not only takes inspiration from Transylvania, but their logo, which looks like Count Dracula's teeth, takes inspiration from the mythological side of Transylvania as well. So this is a really weird brand. I've featured them on my channel in the past. They're called Perin, and we're taking a look at the Rogue X. So today we have a watch that I have featured on my channel before. This is the Rogue X, and I believe I've featured the Rogue on my channel from Perin. Perin are a brand that are inspired by Transylvania. They make their watches in Switzerland, and I think that they've listened to some of the feedback from a few different reviewers. One of the biggest complaints that I made about this watch when I received the original version that they sent me was that they had an open case back on it and they did not sign the rotor. On this one, they've closed the case back. You still get the SW200, however, what they have done is put a closed case back on here. Also, one of the other complaints that I had was on the strap. I thought that the buckle didn't really match the case, and they have also corrected that. That had a large Tang style buckle that was very similar to what you get from like a Panerai, and I didn't think it made sense with this sort of modern look of this case, and of course the dial and handset. The handset here is a stark white handset that are lumed. You have an arrow for the second hand. They are fence post hands. Then you have a very slate colored dial. It's like a blue, a green, a gray. It's a very interesting color, again, inspired by Transylvania. And then you have indices. Those are painted on. Those are filled with lume. You have a date at the 3 o'clock. Again, this is powered by a Sleet SW200. It's a Swiss-made watch. This video is brought to you by Whatnot.com. Whatnot.com are a community marketplace for collectors like me and you. Whatnot uses a live stream format where you can actually buy and sell watches during a live stream. They have auction functionality, buy now functionality, and giveaway functionality. In fact, that's where I'll be doing most of my giveaways going forward to help avoid scammers. Not only that, I'll be selling all of my watches going forward on Whatnot because I really love the format. I love the community aspect of it. I get to talk to the people who want to buy my watches, and they get to talk to me about the watches themselves. There's no better way of buying and selling watches. So come and join me on Whatnot. Download the app using the link in the description down below and get $10 towards your first purchase. I'll see you in my next live stream. One of the things that I loved about that previous version that I featured on my channel was the bezel action, and the style of bezel. So that one had a sterile bezel insert. This one has a 12-hour bezel insert. So there are markings on the bezel. Those are 12 hours. You have little dots for every hour in between. Pretty tastefully done, very simply done. Stainless steel insert, stainless steel bezel. The bezel itself is PVD coated, as you can see. So it's in black. It kind of goes well with that dial. Let's listen to the bezel action. So as I mentioned, the bezel action is excellent on these watches. Also, they're very grippy, so very, very easy to use. You have a very big grippy crown as well. Long lugs, bead blasted case. It's a very intentional look. It's sort of subdued, but at the same time, really interesting and rich. When you look at the case side, you have obviously their logo on the crown. You have a screwed-in crown, 200 meters of water resistance. So this is a capable watch. You have drilled lugs. Like I said, you can see those long lugs on here. It's not a huge watch. I think it's like 39 millimeters. And then you have a bead blasted case as well, case back. Sign the brand. You have their logo, and there's just a little bit of information. I'll do close-ups. It's screwed in, of course. And the strap, as I said, signed Perin right there. It's sort of a vintage or soon to be vintage strap. It's one of those straps that will break in and look really nice over time. I think it's a 20 millimeter lug span. Now, this watch costs $595. It's made in Switzerland and gets an SW200. Excellent price for what you're getting, considering that this is actually Swiss made and you're getting a Sleet SW200. Also, all the little details. You cannot put your finger on exactly what color this is in direct sunlight. It's something different. In my studio lights, it almost looks black, but it's not. It's more of a green, sometimes a slate, sometimes a blue, sometimes. Very, very strange. And I like what they did. So not your typical dial color. So if you're into it, definitely something that you might find interesting. This is a limited edition of 300 pieces. And like I said, 200 meters of water resistance. So it's something that is definitely useful for every day. You can go swimming with this, diving with this. And you have the 12-hour bezel. You could time a second time zone. I think they call this a GMT, but obviously you don't get a GMT movement. You just have a 12-hour bezel, which is, functional as well. Very quickly, let me do measurements and then we will show you what I have on my wrist today. So this is 39 millimeters. Like I said, spot on. Thickness here for a 200 meter dive watch, 12.8 millimeters thick with the sapphire crystal anti-reflective coating. It's just a little bit raised from the bezel, as you can see. Big crown on here, 6.8 millimeters, 6.9 millimeters. And of course, the lug to lug, which is a true lug to lug. You could also get this on a bracelet. I think it's a little bit more expensive. So it's 49 millimeters. And I'm not experienced with that bracelet, so I do not know if that has male-in links, but 49 millimeters. You can see that is a long lug span because you do have these very long lugs. I think that was kind of intentional. Kind of looks like their logo a little bit. I like it. Looks like fangs. I guess that's kind of what they're going for. Transylvania, that whole theme. So very quickly, let me throw this on my wrist. But before I do, let me show you what I have on my wrist. Today I have on my Omega. This is my Omega Seamaster 1957. You can see that this needs a little bit more AR coating. I could never really see this in my studio lights. In person, it looks a lot better, but in my studio lights, not so good. This is like a 38 millimeter watch. So this wears actually very similar. And I think this is around 12 millimeters thick or somewhere in that neighborhood. The only other complaint that I would make, and I would still make about this watch, is the strap. So I wish that it tapered a little bit. So I think that this case with a 38 millimeter case, 39 millimeter case, a slightly more tapered strap would look a little bit better. That's just my opinion, but like I said, I think it looks good, but I think it would look a little bit better with a tapered strap. This says Perin on it right here. It's a nice little buckle. Nothing too crazy, but it's nice. It's milled. It's not a press clasp, so there you go. There it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. It's a 39 millimeter watch with a 49 millimeter lug span. I think it fits me really well. Obviously that 49 millimeter lug span does not affect me at all with the 7.5 inch wrist, but someone with a small wrist, this might wear a little bit large on you because of that lug span. Anyway, very quickly, a Lume shot, and then we'll wrap up the video. I think the Lume, if I recall, on previous versions that I featured here on my channel, not phenomenal, but let's check it out and we will find out. All right, well, there you go. Lume is good. It's not incredible. You have Lume on the second hand, which of course I like. Hour and minute hand, pretty decently applied with Lume. And then the indices, which are painted on, pretty decently applied with Lume as well. And then you have a pip in the bezel for orientation. Could there be more Lume? Of course, but I think the style of the dial dictates what the Lume will be here. And it's part of the design, more or less, not to have a ton of Lume on here because it's a very stark dial, and that's what they're going for. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of the inspiration from Transylvania? Do you see it? Do you see a lot of Transylvania in this watch? I see a little bit, especially that color that they chose and the long lugs that look like fangs, I guess. I think it's pretty cool. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel. It's the easiest way to help support my channel, and I very much appreciate it. I love bringing you guys videos. I love talking about watches and having conversations with you guys on watches, and it's the easiest way to support my channel just by hitting that like button, and of course subscribing if you haven't. Hit the bell icon if you are. It just notifies you when I make videos. I do upload videos often, so there are a lot of videos coming out, and there's a lot of watches that we're taking a look at, so definitely subscribe if you are interested. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you in the next video.